that when people are victorious or whatever, then they become, corrupt. They'll run into the cities, they'll murder people, they'll rape the women, steal, this type of thing. And the desire, like which used to happen in Vietnam, is that the Vietnamese, North Vietnamese, sometimes would capture and destroy many Americans based on these same desires. They'll have a woman, for example, North Vietnamese woman, she's, maybe not properly dressed, but she's inviting some GIs to come. She's got herself strapped up with grenades, and they all come thinking they're going to have a good time, and they all come in there and she pulls the pin and blows them all up. Right? Whereas the Muslim soldier, he would never be drawn into that. He would never be drawn into that. Because of his consciousness, his training in fasting, etc., he would never be pulled. This is the sexual desire now causing people to be destroyed. Right? So it trains, because in jihad, this is one of the areas that, that the people who are involved in fighting and that, they have to be very careful of. Because it's very easy. The human desires are very fine, and they can drive you to do all kinds of things you wouldn't normally do. When you find yourself in a position of power over other people, the tendency is to want to use that power. So jihad is a time when, for that jihad to be of benefit for you, as the Imam had said in the khutbah, he had said that the Prophet Muhammad had said that there are 100 degrees or 100 levels in paradise. Each one of them is, the distance between each one of them is like the distance between the heavens and the earth. And these 100 levels are reserved for those who fight jihad. So jihad is great benefit, great rewards from Allah for jihad. But it only becomes benefit and reward if the people who are fighting have self-restraint from these types of corruptions that we were talking about. So the fasting becomes very important to help to keep that jihad pure for Allah, and that corruption doesn't enter into it. Now, after that, we talked about the sighting of the moon. And we said that in Islam, we do not follow the, what they call the, not the Gregorian calendar, but we don't follow, in the lunar calendar, we don't follow the charts that have been set up, where the times are set exactly when the months are going to begin, right? The lunar calendar, which is put out by astronomers, at the beginning of every year, they put out a new lunar calendar for the year, in which they set the months. So we don't follow that. Why? Because we said that their calculations are not 100% accurate. There will always be some error in them, because human beings cannot measure anything 100%. There will always be 99 points, so and so and so. And the more accurate the instruments become, it's the bigger the decimal, 0.9999. It's the more accurate, 999, more accurate, 999, but they will never reach 100%, because only Allah is perfect. So their calculations cannot be relied on. We rely on the sighting, because the sighting is something people can do anywhere in the world. And of course, the Prophet ﷺ had set down a principle that, if the last day of Sha'ban, that is the 29th of Sha'ban, because lunar months are either 29 days or 30. If the last day of Sha'ban, it becomes cloudy. And this would be the time when you're looking out for the moon of Ramadan. If it becomes cloudy, then you assume that you're still in Sha'ban, and you continue to the 30th, and you begin your fast after the 30th. You lay down a general principle. Later on you might find out that really Sha'ban was 29 days, right? And the day which you call the 30th was really the first of Ramadan. You may find that out later. In which case, if you find it out later, right, you add an extra day of fasting after Ramadan to make up for the day that you missed. If you never found out, well then there's nothing on you. You just went according to the principle. But one thing you would not do is you would not fast 31 days. The maximum days of fasting is 30 days. There are some days on which it is not allowable for you to fast. That, for example, the fasting on Yawm al-Jum'ah and on the Eid, because Yawm al-Jum'ah for the Muslim is like the weekly Eid, or the weekly day of celebration. So you're not allowed to fast on Yawm al-Jum'ah, except in Ramadan. Or if you are fasting the day before it and the day after it. So it means you would also fast like Thursday and Saturday. You don't specify Friday, Yawm al-Jum'ah, for fasting. It's not allowed. Forbidden by the Prophet ﷺ. As well as Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha, these days are forbidden for fasting. And also the last 3 days of Hajj, what they call Ayyam al-Tashriq. That's the 11th, 12th, and 13th of Dhul Hijjah. You're not allowed to fast on these days either. We discussed briefly that when a person is traveling, he's allowed to break his fast. We were looking at that when we discussed the area concerning traveling and shortening of salah, etc. The person who's fasting during Ramadan, when he's traveling, he's allowed to break his fast, and he makes up for the days which he missed while traveling when he gets back from the travel. Some people say, well, if the travel is by airplane, it's very comfortable now, there's no pressure on you about fasting, then you should fast. But no, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had said that Allah gave us certain concessions, and He likes that the concessions be taken. So, if you're traveling, it is preferable for you to break the fast and make up the day afterwards. If a person is sick, and for example, doctors have shown, or he from his own experience knows, he tries to fast and he finds his sickness increases, then he's allowed also to break the fast, and after Ramadan he makes up for those days. But if the sickness is like a terminal sickness, the type of sickness which is not going to get better, he's got what they call, say, terminal cancer, and fasting aggravates it, and there's no getting better, there's no time that after Ramadan he'll be able to make up those days. And what he does is he feeds a poor person for every day of the month, right? Or he feeds 30 poor people on one day. He makes a big meal, he feeds 30 poor people, and they eat. Or he feeds for every day. A woman who is pregnant or breastfeeding, suckling her baby, if she fears for her health or the health of the baby, she also is allowed not to fast and to make up those days after Ramadan. But it should be the condition